So, I'd like to start off with an apology. And that apology is, of course, for the fact that I've been basically ceased to put content out for a year after I promised that I would definitely finish up the Team Off timeline, at least that chapter of it. Um, there's nothing I can really say. There's no excuse I can give other than the fact that I've been dealing with a lot of personal issues in my life. Um, there was some mechanical problems also. At the end of 2021, my laptop did, in fact, take a shit, and that's what I was using for recording and basically all of my production with everything. Luckily, I did replace it after about a month, and really took my sweet ass time with reinstalling my operating system that I use for production and all the tools that I use for production. So my original production computer was a 32-bit operating system, and my computer itself was actually capable of being a 64-bit system. And don't ask me why I chose to put a 32-bit operating system onto this computer. Even that reason escapes me at the moment, other than the fact that I probably was naive to the fact that there was a 64-bit version of the operating system that I use and that was compatible with my computer, and ended up committing all the tools that I use for production to be a 32-bit libraries. And needless to say, I was not looking forward to having to go through the effort of having to port those all over to a new 64-bit operating system, which I knew I was going to eventually have to migrate to. I mean, it was basically unavoidable because nobody's really supporting 32-bit libraries anymore. And while I'm aware, of course, that 64-bit operating systems are generally backwards compatible with most 32-bit libraries, most being the key word, I was really not looking forward to the torture that I was going to go through with having to make the necessary corrections and just deal with the stress and inherent fallout of the migration process. So for that, that's on me. I did finally do that, though, and my current operating system is my new one, and everything is ported over, and everything seems to be working, and the process was actually far less painful than I was expecting it to be. So that still left the myriad of personal problems that I had been dealing with over the last couple of years of my life that were really starting to cause me to unwind. And without going into it, because I'm not going to here, it was some pretty deep and serious shit. I've been through a lot. I'm not looking for sympathy, but those who are in the know, some people are aware of what those issues are. Most people aren't, and even if you're a good friend of mine, you probably don't know, because I don't talk about this openly, and I'm probably not going to for some time, but there's going to be some obvious changes. Let's just put it that way. Other than that, I don't want to use that as an excuse for why I haven't done anything with this channel for the last year or so. Almost year and a half, but to be honest with you, between my issues, tech problems, and ending up having to finish the album that I've been working on for the last 7 years, I had a lot on my plate, and there was only so much I could do, and there's still other projects which people have paid me for, or have paid me to help facilitate, namely the putting the Triple U footage, the old Triple U Pro Wrestling footage online, which I have yet to get. I mean, I got around to initially doing it before I moved to Florida, but I never got to finishing it. There was some audio sync problems, which I basically had to redo the whole thing, and never got around to finishing it. But if you're listening to this, if you're Alex or Andrew or anybody else who's given me money for that camera to get this footage online, I have not given up on that yet. It's just been life. And I'm going to finish that and I will likely be paying everybody back regardless because of the amount, just a ridiculous amount of time it's been. It's been almost 2 years, and for that, other than, being busy with trying to mix and master an album, become a better recording engineer, I have no excuse. So we're going to go back and there's going to be plenty more Laser Quest related content that I'm going to do. There's plenty of more podcast videos that I plan to release, and the Team Off timeline will continue. There's a few other videos that I'm going to do before we get back to the Team Off timeline, though. A lot of the problem also, the reason why I couldn't continue with the Team Off timeline is if you were actually watching it and not listening to it, all of my footage was from my previous machine, which was the machine I also played games on, and it was also my screen capture software, and everything was over there. Because that system took a shit, I back up almost everything to external hard drives into the cloud, but I had basically lost the footage that I had planned for that. So I'm going to go and keep playing Final Fantasy, which I also had to stop playing, and continue to compile more footage before I get back into the Team Off timeline. So that's the situation with that. And other than that, expect stuff soon, like really soon. So I guess that's all. I guess that's all for now. So here we are. Born to be kings, princes of the universe and such.